I'm Allie. I came out after 20 years of marriage and I have 3 kids.
I'm Melissa and I have 2 kids and I came out at 37 after an 11-year marriage.
This podcast is about coming out later and the struggles and victories that come with it.
When coming out feels like the end of the world, but it's really just the beginning.
This is the Lesbian Chronicles. Welcome to the Lesbian Chronicles.
A little late.
Welcome back.
Yeah, I just got back from Colorado late last night.
I know, and we were almost going to be on time with this episode, but it turns out I guess the airport's too loud.
The airport was very loud.
Right.
Yeah.
Why did you think? What made you think you could do that? Like I wouldn't even think I could.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I guess I was like in my head, I was like, maybe I can just find somewhere quiet to hang out.
And like throw your earbuds in and
yeah.
It
was like they were making announcements and they were so freaking loud.
I know.
There was no way.
Have you seen the thing lately where they show the people at the Atlanta airport who are like screaming at you when you're in the security line to like open your bag or put they're so like not only are they yelling, but they're so rude.
They are. I have TSA pre-check now, so I don't have to quite deal with that stuff.
I do too. You still have to go through the line.
But I hate going through, like, because they act like you're an idiot immediately.
They act like you're an idiot. Put your I said laptops out of the bag.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, God,
it's terrifying.
Hell? Exactly.
I feel like I'm going through a line with like middle school bullies just like, harassing me.
Literally. It's like, and it doesn't matter.
Jacket. Take off your jacket.
Exactly.
Like it's a hoodie.
It
has a zipper on it.
Exactly. It's like, what is wrong with you?
Like, what are the rules today? Tell me.
I know. It's so frustrating. I hate it. It's like, I'm dreading it. I don't make eye contact with them. Or if you don't push your bucket through to the other thing, they're literally like, screaming at you in front of everybody.
Yeah.
You know, terrible.
This time I had to send my jacket and my snowboard helmet through. And those 2 things got flagged and like set aside for a good 10 minutes.
Ugh.
And I'm like, it's a helmet and a jacket. Like, what more are you worried about? You know?
I know.
Luckily I was early, so it wasn't like delaying me at all. I was able to just stand there and be patient, but oh my God, it's always something. I guess that's just it. It's always, you just can't cleanly get through and move along.
And it's just like nowadays, like Maria will be like, you have to be there 2 hours before. I'm like, 2 fucking hours? I'm sitting here before? I'm not getting there 2 hours before. So then it's like, if I have to get there 2 hours before, and then I've got to rent a car on the other side and I've got to wait there, I might as well drive. Like there's not that many places. It takes me longer to fly than I could have gotten in my car. I hate driving so much that I'll do it, but it's getting to where it's like not worth it.
Yeah. I mean, it's the same thing. Like if you take a Lyft to the airport, like there's that time where, I mean, I guess that saves you too on like parking, but like I parked and I tried to find a spot that was like reasonable. I even like paid a little extra just to do the daily parking.
Yeah.
Instead of like long-term, so that I could be closer. Because I'm carrying a snowboard bag that weighs 60 pounds.
Yeah. Hell yeah. No, not happening.
I'm like walking through the parking lot. First of all, I'm getting lost. And then I see all these empty spaces like right up front. I'm like, how do I even get to these? Like they have it blocked off.
Right.
Like, they don't want you to be that close.
No, and I'm such a I was picking someone up last week and I remember I pulled over to where there was a sign for the cell phone lot.
God.
And so I pulled over and I'm there and I saw the sign and the guy comes up, he's like, you can't be here. You can't be here.
You immediately got yelled at.
Yeah, but I was like, it said that. It said it on the sign. No, it didn't. I'm like, dude, I have to show you that I'm right. Like you have to see that it did say this. Like I needed him to know because my need to be right. And I know I saw it. I drove around again just to like prove it to my own brain that I was right. But he made me move. I'm like, they're all dicks there. Everybody there's a dick. That's my bottom line.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I know I have encountered some nice TSA workers. You know where they were really nice was in Amsterdam.
Really?
They were like the sweetest people on the planet.
I wonder why. I wonder what the difference
what's
is.
happening in America that we are jerks.
We are total jerks.
The TSA pre-check people were nice though. I did the clear thing. Have you ever done that? Like, I'm not robbing any banks, that's for sure, because they have like my entire eye print. So
yeah, what's better about
cool technology?
It is cool technology, but why do the clear if you've got TSA?
Because clear is even faster.
Okay.
Like TSA pre-check, usually the line's not too bad. Clear, there's like no one.
Okay.
But it's probably because most people don't want to do an entire like facial retina scan.
I'll do anything not to have to stand there.
I don't give a shit. I don't have a life of crime planned.
I mean, I don't know what I have planned, but I don't mind. Anything can happen. Anything can happen.
Never know.
If I get desperate enough, I might
I've felt a bit like a criminal lately with all the stuff that I found in my condo. Abandoning the property.
Anything else happen?
No, I've got it cleaned professionally the other day, and
they moved on to another person.
They haven't come back, and I have a lot of Air Jordans to sell. So
good. Okay. That's awesome. What's this? There's a show called is it the Chi or the Chai on Showtime? CHI. It's a great show, but the guy sells sneakers like on the side of the street. And I always like out of a van.
Yeah.
That's gonna be you.
God. Well, seriously, like I've been using this app. I think I might have mentioned this last week. It's called Check Check. And you can take pictures of shoes like Nikes and find out if they're real or not.
Oh, that's cool.
So I've been verifying the shoes that I found.
The shoes you're going to be selling out of the van.
Right. One pair is knockoffs for sure. But if they were real, they'd be worth $3,500.
Oh shit. Is it obvious they're knockoffs?
No, actually, I that was one of the ones that I did the verification on, and they said why it wasn't real, and you have to look really hard at like the stitching and stuff on them. Like they're doing a really good job with the replica stuff for sure.
Oh yeah, but I mean, I guess I feel like unless like you are so successful that you've hit every goal in life, why are you buying a $3,500 pair of tennis shoes?
Exactly.
Like that's somebody who clearly has low self-esteem or like needs to like have you.
Well, and like if I saw those shoes like on someone walking down the street, I would have no idea that they were like super expensive shoes.
Yeah.
It's not like anyone realizes.
No.
Like back in the 90s when you could get a starter jacket and you were like super cool because you had a starter jacket. Never been
Right. Yeah, that's funny. I forgot about those.
Someone brought them up recently. I can't remember who, but yeah. I always wanted one, of course, but I never got one.
Yeah. I forgot. I can't even picture what they look like.
I'll send you a picture after.
Are you too young for the parachute pants?
No, I had parachute.
Okay. Yeah.
I had the full windbreaker suit too.
Oh yeah, likewise. And then I graduated to the juicy sweatsuit.
Oh, I never went that route.
Matching top and bottom. Top and bottom.
My God.
In fact, today I was at Piedmont Park today walking with one of my best friends, and we talked about like we both had them. So like we would be out with our babies and like in our matching
pictures of this. That's hilarious.
Oh my God. That's hilarious. You know what's good about those sweatpants? I would like go back because they make your ass look so good.
Yeah.
Like that is what I remember about the juicy sweatsuit.
Those did, yeah, for sure.
It was like something about the pockets or something. Like the tight and then the tight hoodie. Like your body looked good.
Mm-hmm. Bring it back.
I might bring it back. You don't know. You don't know. What are we talking about? I want to hear about Colorado.
Right. That's right. Yeah. So I went to Colorado the past few days, just a quick trip. I tend to go out there like once a year at least to go snowboarding. And I spent one day snowboarding. I took a lesson for the first time.
Oh yeah. Oh wow. Okay.
I didn't have enough money when I started snowboarding to even really be at the ski resort.
Yeah.
So I never took a lesson, and I just kind of taught myself, and I watched YouTube videos and stuff. But then when I was buying my lift ticket for this trip, lift tickets are so expensive. Right. I noticed it was only $50 more to take a lesson. So I was like, might as well.
Yeah, hell yeah.
It was a lot of fun. He was able to like watch me and give me some tips on how to like improve my technique. And then he taught me how to do these like 360 spins.
Oh, that's fun.
Yeah. So it was it was very cool. I had
Yeah.
fun. And then let's see, Friday I went to Denver and just hung out. Went to dinner with our friend, Kristen.
You did?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Oh my God, I'm so jealous.
I know, we didn't even take a picture or anything. I realized that like afterward.
Yes.
And then after that, I went to the Lesbian bar in Denver called Blush and Blue.
Okay.
And just hanging out there, having a few drinks. And I'm talking to one of the bartenders. Turns out she's the owner. And she's so cool, nice. Like it was a great vibe. Like the moment that I walked in there, it was so welcoming. Like the lady that was running the front door was really sweet. All the bartenders were nice. And
that's
was, like,
so cool.
Crowd. Even I got there at like, I want to say probably like 7:30.
Oh, that's early. Yeah.
Maybe it was 8. I don't know. But it was early enough that I was like, I wonder if I'm going to walk into like an empty bar.
Yeah.
But it was not. It wasn't super busy. And actually, they were saying it would have been busier, but it started to snow that night, so like not as many people were out. But I met some great people, and we went to a different like club called Charlie's and danced and had fun. So
that is awesome. Did Kristen go with you?
No.
Okay. Kristen's got the alley gene.
I cruised in that bar solo, and it was funny though because I was like, I haven't done that in a long time.
I know. You're brave. I love that about you.
But it was also like, who cares?
You don't know anyone.
You're gonna meet people.
Yeah.
And I also noticed too, like when Jody, the owner, was kind of like asking me, like, where I'm from and all this stuff, and I mentioned that I'd come out later. Like saying that to someone, especially in a lesbian bar, used to feel like really intimidating and kind of scary. Like I was so worried that I wasn't going to be like accepted in some way.
Yeah.
But now it just like flows out like it's no big deal because I've realized like no one cares.
No. And they don't, and you don't, like you'll probably say it with so much more confidence now.
Yeah. I'm just like, no big deal. Like,
yeah.
Now I know that there's so many of us.
Right.
That it doesn't need to be like this shameful thing that I went through. And I'm almost like proud of it.
Yeah. Like, it's like a badge.
That's what I did.
Yeah. Yeah. Like a badge of honor.
Yeah.
What is it? What does Jody come out later, or is she always been gay?
No, she's always been out. She's owned that bar. God, would she say 20 years, 30 years?
Damn.
Long time. So, and they do like speed dating and events and have live music. And so, yeah, if you guys are ever in Denver, check it out for sure. It's a lot of fun.
We never stay in Denver. We always fly into Denver, but we never stay in Denver.
Yeah, that's probably only like the second or third time that I've ever spent time just in downtown Denver. And it's been probably 10, 15 years since I did that. And it's a cool little city.
Is it? Sure. That's what I was going to say. Is it a cool little city? Okay.
I went on a walk when I first got there and went and picked up some ramen. And there's like, it's just kind of like a lot of shopping and that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Of course, it smells like weed.
Okay. Yeah. I'm noticing now everywhere does. Like, I feel like
I don't know if you saw my post on Instagram, but I was like, everybody says Atlanta smells like weed. Denver, even more like weed. So
New York City smells like weed. When I'm walking around New York City, it's like everybody must be smoking a joint.
Well, I know. I was like, is it legal just to smoke on the street there? Like,
Tate and her roommates all do.
Or no one cares anymore?
No one cares.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm hoping that Georgia starts to do it. Just like, it's the way that they run those shops is so like clean and efficient.
Yeah, I know. It makes it right. It makes it feel less scary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And they're like good about it too. Like you go in there, they check your ID, like scan it and all that stuff.
Right.
So
I don't really smoke weed, but I do like the smell of it. Like if I'm in New York and I think it smells good.
Yeah.
I just don't do it.
I like to get the gummies, but I don't do that very often. It's more like if I feel like I'm going to have a hard time sleeping, I might take one, but I only get the sleepy ones.
Yeah, same. So, if I do it at all. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm just not into it.
I'm afraid to do it in public.
Yeah, no, I get paranoid completely.
Yeah.
I just don't. And I don't like that feeling. Like, I don't like the feeling it gives me.
It does feel a little like out of control.
Yeah. I only like to have I'm boring. Like I like to have one or two drinks and I like how that feels, that light feeling. I do not, beyond that, I start to not like how it feels.
Yeah.
So that's why I just never do, which is why I'm home by 10:30. Cause then I'm like, what am I doing? It's terrible.
That's smart.
Terrible.
That's smart.
Smart or just like super lame.
No, it's not lame.
Maybe a little lame.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Exactly. I saw this thing today where I almost sent it to you because I know you like think about drinking, but he was saying how like I'll have to find it, but just I don't think this is true, but he was basically like drinking, there's nothing good for it's terrible for your body, your brain, your like all these things. Like there's nothing good that comes from it at all. And I don't know how I don't know that I fully believe that because I think in some ways, like, don't they say a glass of wine is good?
It's kind of like it depends on who does the study, you know.
Okay.
But I would say there's nothing good that comes from it because if you think about it, I mean, there's a reason people do it. It's because it's like a social lubricant, you know.
Right.
And a lot of people say that they don't like the taste of certain drinks or whatever, like they don't like the taste of alcohol, period. And you've convinced yourself to like it, but I don't really believe that either, you know. Like I love a dirty martini. Like
you really
delicious.
like the taste of it.
Yeah.
You like the taste of it. To me, it tastes like complete rubbing alcohol.
Well, that's because you're not getting it dirty enough.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, like
I hate the way it tastes.
I so often when I order one at a restaurant, I have to ask them for like a whole like extra thing of olive brine because it's too vodka-y for me.
Yeah, there's only one mixed drink, that I love that I love the taste of, and that's this drink. It's Scout in my neighborhood called the Trailhead. If you ever go there, it's like a spicy jalapeno pineapple like drink that I think is so good. I don't even know what the alcohol is that's in it, but it's the only cocktail that I get that I'm like, oh wow, this tastes really good. The rest of them, I'm like you. I'm like, people are faking like they like this.
I will say that I feel that way about like whiskey drinks. I'm like, how
Disgusting.
does anyone think
I think
that
they're faking it? They're faking it.
Like that is, oh, I was like,
yeah.
I don't even know how it's like drinking gasoline. The smell, the taste, all of it.
All of it.
And it makes for a very drunk human. So I prefer not to get that way.
No, I don't even like margaritas.
You know, I do like a margarita, but I've had to change my perspective on margaritas because I always sleep like shit. I will have like one margarita, and that night I fall asleep right away, and then I wake up like 2 a.m. and can't get back to sleep.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Every time.
That's me with wine.
So I'm like, I'm done.
Yeah, that's why I get beers now. I'm like, I can't believe I have to drink beer, but it's like the only thing that doesn't affect my sleep.
Beer is very reliable.
Yeah, it's like reliable. I know. And I'm like, I always say, like, what's the lightest beer you have on tap? Because that's always what I want.
That's a much better way to put it than saying, do you have Miller Lite? Because they always roll their eyes at me.
Well, they probably don't have, I mean, would anywhere have Miller? I mean, wouldn't you rather have a beer on tap than like a can of beer?
No, I'd rather
really?
just have, yeah.
Okay.
I don't like, it's fresh and light to me. Like, I don't really like all the IPAs and all that stuff. Like,
right. But what if you could get like not an IPA, but like a Classic City on tap? No,
even
not your
that's
thing.
a little hoppy to me.
Classic okay. We better talk about
if they're out, but or like they don't have Miller Lite, then yes, I will get something like that. But anyway, yeah.
Let's talk about gay things. Let's talk about gay. Let's talk about gay. So yeah, so I think we've been getting like a lot of messages lately of people who are in the midst of either leaving or considering leaving or have left and end up with people, catalysts that are sometimes have like emotional or mental health issues. And like I feel like it's come up in our email quite a bit. So I thought maybe we could talk about a couple things. One is that I know my therapist has said that the gay community in general sometimes does have more mental health issues just because they've been marginalized for so long in their childhood. So maybe that's part of it. But I wonder too, like if there is something about when you're first coming out, if like, I don't know, maybe like you're in such a transitional place. Like I think about my catalyst, I attracted I don't know, like maybe like attracts like, and like I must have attracted her at that stage of my life. And right now we would never have considered one another because I'm in a different place in my own life. I don't know. Like it does seem to be a common story that when you first come out, you might have this volatile issue that
starts
goes
out
away.
like really beautiful and like intense and fun. And it's like you're addicted to the drug right away. But I think, yeah, like this is such a common theme. And I know people are probably like, oh, like don't drag the catalyst every time. But
yeah,
I mean, legit, and we can't share all these emails because they're private emails.
Personal,
we're not going to sit here and read all these details of people that they're telling us. They're trusting us with their stories. You know, we can't sit here and share it all. But it really is just this common thing where I met someone, I've never felt this way before. We started dating, maybe there was an affair, and then the late in life person is sitting there trying to process everything that's happening, and then caught between a rock and a hard place.
You got it.
Yeah. Like you've got the catalyst that's screaming at you to leave and do everything they say, and you've got the husband that's like hurt and upset and also mad.
Right. And I have this, like, you just made me remember something of like how you said it starts out like a drug and it's so fun and exciting. But I have a very specific memory of mine was so fun. And like, I remember like we were still just kind of flirting with the idea. Nothing was really happening yet. And I remember like that went on for a while and it was like exciting to wake up and wonder if I would like have a text from her, what was happening. And then it was like one night I was home with my family and she had been out, I think, drinking or partying. And she called me and was like, wanted to see me right at that moment and was like getting angry and getting like very angry about the fact that like I couldn't just drop everything and go hang out. And I remember it scared me enough that I was like, I saw a side of her that I hadn't seen yet. And so at the beginning, it seemed all fun. And then this happened. And I think she knew too that like the next day I felt distant and she was embarrassed, I think, and kind of like, I'm really sorry. I don't know why I did that. But I remember that like shook me a little of like, wow, okay, this seems so fun and sweet. And it's not.
Yeah, but that's like intense.
That was intense. And you scared me in a way I've never been scared in my safe marriage ever.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's also the part where you have been unfulfilled in your marriage to a degree because you're hiding who you are without even realizing it a lot of the time. And, sometimes marriages just start to fall flat and your needs are not being met. And then you meet this person who's meeting all your needs.
There you go. Yeah. So no wonder why you fall for it. Yeah.
So you're in it and so excited and you've been depleted. So it makes it even more better.
Yeah. You're thirsty and here's this glass of water. Yeah. And do you think too, like maybe also the reason that you get somebody like that is because it takes kind of a boisterous, big personality to go after you in that way. I'm a married woman. I've got 3 kids. Yeah. Like I'm not somebody who's even remotely available. So to me, it's like I don't know, like I wonder if that subset of people, not in a bad way, it's just they are more prone to be
go after what they want.
What they want and like be aggressive about it. That could be a massive generalization, but that was definitely my experience.
I can't say that was my experience initially. Like it's
not initially. Yeah.
Initially it was like, let me help you through this.
Right.
Right. And I felt like she could provide me good advice and guidance on like how to do this. Like she came out later in life, but she didn't get a divorce because of her sexuality. Like that was something she discovered after the divorce. So, but she still kind of like knew what the feelings that were going to come up for me would be. Yeah. And, I think when you are like bonding with someone over that, you have a common experience, you get really close really fast, that you're overlooking everything else that's happening around you.
Right.
And we do hear a lot too with people like you're saying that do have some like kind of substance abuse problem. And that might be muted at first. And then as time goes on, it becomes very obvious that there's an issue there. And at that point, you're in love with them.
Yeah. And it's true, right? Because you're probably meeting them out because maybe you're still getting divorced or you're separated. No one's having affairs, or maybe they are, I don't know. But like you're probably in a situation that you're meeting at restaurants, bars, you're going out because that's what you do in the early stages. And so, yeah, it kind of lends itself to that subset. It's not like you're meeting at the library to read books and have coffee.
Right, exactly.
I mean,
you're going to hang out, have drinks, and that becomes, but I mean, that's the norm. That's what everybody does.
Yeah.
Like 90% of first dates are to go to happy hour.
Right. So they drink too much a few times and you're like, okay, that's all right. And then it's like, wait a minute. Yeah. You overlook a lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, and I wish there's just like, I guess, a cautionary tale, for people that are maybe starting out who haven't met a catalyst or started dating, like just be very wary of like how things are progressing and what your person might be displaying that could be like a low key red flag, the possessiveness, or, like you're saying, like the demanding that you talk at that time, maybe being mad that you don't text them back as quickly. Like, I feel like it's such a slow progression.
It is like, it starts out like it doesn't happen that way.
Yeah.
And then it's like little by little.
It happens and they apologize. Like, sure, like everybody has their moments.
Right.
Not everyone's perfect all the time. We all say things that we're like, oh shit, shouldn't have said that. But I think if it is happening repeatedly and you do feel like you're being forced to make a decision so quickly, like don't let that person dictate how quickly you do this. Like, that person will still be there if they're meant to be there.
It's so true. And you're gonna have a lot less battle scars along the way with that person if you leave it be and then revisit it after you've fully made the choice. Because I can tell you, there's nothing worse than regret. It's a fucking bitch. And if you move too quickly and you end up making decisions that maybe you wouldn't have made without somebody chirping in your ear, you will have regret. It may not be today, it may not be in 6 months, it may not be in 2 years, but it will hit you at some point of like, I wish this would have looked differently.
Yeah. I remember I wanted some time. I wanted to like, I was separated. I was seeing this woman and I was trying to figure stuff out, but I felt like I couldn't take time to myself to be alone. I couldn't take time to maybe date other people and see what else was out there.
Right.
And I remember her clearly saying, like, if like it's now or never, basically.
Yeah. And it's like, what?
And feeling like, oh my God, I'm going to lose this person. And then what?
Yeah. Right.
And like, what a shitty position to put someone in.
And why is that the position? Like, why? Like, I would be so curious around why.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
It's a bunch of bullshit.
And insecurity.
It was her controlling the situation.
Yeah.
And for her own fair reasons, which are that she wants you and you're not really fully available yet. So that's frustrating. And so this feels like something that I need to reel in. I want you. And how can I make sure that happens? So I understand all the reasons. I just think that that's another good one not to bring this third party in, because there's so many other painful things happening at the time that you have to process and go through.
And really, like, the sweet, kind thing at that time would have been just like, you know what, take your time.
Yeah, like, I'm here.
Like, I'm not going to be fully present in this, but I'm here occasionally if you need me. And like, I hope it goes well. And if we're meant to be, like, things are going to work out. But like, having someone chirp in your ear and you're making decisions based on that, you're making hasty decisions, you're messing with your relationship with your ex-husband. Like, there's so many things that it's going to be really hard to fix.
It's just going to be really hard to fix. I think another red flag that I want to just put out there is, if somebody is trashing your husband or your ex-husband, run the other direction. I don't care if he is being a jerk. I don't care what the reason. That's never helpful. And they don't know, they only know this one part of the story. And it's just like, if they're trashing your ex-husband, run the other direction.
Or pitting you against him.
Pitting you against him. I think that I've had to learn the hard way. And with my catalyst, like I should have, like, there were things that she would just do, like light little, like shots fired that I remember just kind of overlooking. And that it's never good. It says everything about them, nothing about your ex-husband. And I don't care if he's in pain and you guys are getting divorced. That's a private marriage matter. And to have someone, you know, even in, you know, you or my friends, when you're in the middle of a breakup, you'll never, ever, ever, ever hear me like do that to someone who's a quality human being. Like it just isn't, it's none of my business to do that. So I think the best way that a catalyst could react, if you're a catalyst listening, is just like, God, that must be really hard. I hear what you're saying. Wow, that's tough. How can I be here for you? How can I show up for you? What do you need right now? But yeah, oh my God, he fucking sucks. I can't believe it. You need to do this. It's just like, enough. Like, that's not helpful at all.
Yeah. And I think, you know, people, it's like they're trying to change the narrative and the story. And I felt that even with my divorce attorney, that she was pitting me against my ex-husband.
Right. She had something to gain.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that made me, that put such a bad taste in my mouth about attorneys and divorce attorneys specifically. Because I was just like, she wants to drag this out and she wants us to fight. And I had gone in there saying, like, I'm only here because I want to know what my rights are as a parent.
Yeah.
And I'm really scared right now that he, you know, might do something where he wants like full custody of the kids or something like that.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, like, as a gay person, like, what's going to be held against me here and what's like legal. That was the advice I wanted. And as the time went on with her I was like, no, like, you're going to make this into something that it's not, where we are going to argue and we are going to fight. And I don't want that.
Right. Like, yeah. It's not helpful. And it's especially not from a person you're starting to date. Cause it's like, she doesn't have any reason to be having an opinion about my custody arrangement or my settlement or any of it. Like, I don't know. That was another thing that, looking back, I wish I would have nipped right away. I did eventually, but it's like, I should have right away been like, never again.
And I feel like even if your husband is being a jerk, like, they just need to keep their mouth shut.
They need to just be supportive.
Like, let the person vent about what's happening.
Right.
But like, no opinions needed.
Yeah.
And because they are going to be a jerk sometimes. They're mad. They're hurt. Like, and I'm not talking like I'm not giving permission to being abusive or emotionally abusive, but by any means. But I don't know. It kind of reminds me of like when I was growing up. Sometimes my best friend would like make fun of my little brother.
Ooh.
It would make me so mad.
Yeah.
But I'm like, I can make fun of him.
I do it.
You can't make fun of him.
No, of course not.
And that's like how I feel about like my ex. I'm like, no, do not say a word about him.
Right.
Like, I will protect him for sure.
Of course.
And same with like the women that I've dated. Like, I will protect them. You know, like you have a better understanding of what's going through their head. Like, the person that's watching from the outside, you don't have permission to talk.
That's it. You're watching from the outside. You're not in this arena. So it's like, it bothered me then, but I wasn't like brave enough early on. Like, I would just kind of let it happen. I didn't like it. But as I got stronger and more clear in my path, it's like, I had no room for that anymore.
Yeah. And that's another thing. I think, you know, when you're going through this initially, like, you are in such a sensitive mental state.
Yes. Fragile.
You're going to be alone. And it's like, when you finally like gain that power and realize like, no, like, I'd rather be alone than with this person.
Yeah.
Then like, that's where you can really like move forward.
It's true. Sometimes I do like a litmus test with myself where I'll like say, not in my relationship now, but just in general, like, would this be good enough for my child? Like, if this is who Tatum was dating, would this be acceptable to me?
Yeah.
And then I try to like hold the standard there, because to me, it's like you want the very best for them. And so it's like, that's always like a good way to like know.
It's like, picture like your adult child calling you and being like, yeah, me and so-and-so had a fight last night and she got really mad and she's drunk and she left and she said it was over. And, you know, all this stuff. Like, I'd be like, no, that's not acceptable. Like,
like, what are you doing?
It's like, this is the 10th time this has happened.
No, exactly. Now you're the problem. Like I don't, and again, like there's some catalysts that are like so wonderful.
I know,
like
that's one thing.
So it's like I always want to.
Topic always feels sensitive to me because I do know people who are so lovely,
so wonderful, and maybe they're like us, where it's like I feel like I went through a really hard thing, but I would never say that I was. And maybe because I wasn't gay when I didn't come out until so late. Maybe this is why. But I don't consider myself. I don't have mental health issues. I don't have the thing that I know my therapist said.
Interesting though, because of like the fact that you did know you were gay.
Yeah.
And like you were suppressing it.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Like, it's interesting to me that you have come out like mentally healthy despite kind of like having that like locked inside of you.
Yeah. Right. I don't know if it's just like the way I was brought up, it just wasn't even on the table. So to me, it was like, I still got to have, I really wanted babies. Like that to me was my whole goal. So I don't know, like, I mean, I'm sure that I'm not perfectly mentally healthy. Like we're all working on something, but I don't have mental health issues. Like I don't have depression. I mean,
I think there is a lot to be said too for people who've been out for their entire lives.
That's what I mean. Like they've been alienated.
They have been through some hard shit and probably had some sort of issues with their parents along the way or friends.
Right.
Feeling marginalized. Yeah. So
that is what the therapist said. She's like, so it is more common in this community.
And that sucks.
It does suck. It's not, it's terrible.
I think about this a lot, like, because now we have social media, you know, Instagram, Reddit, TikTok, there's all these people sharing their stories of their struggles now. And I think that like people that are growing up now, like teenagers, 20s, are going to be so much more like mentally aware because there's just like, we're talking about it now, you know, it's so normal to go to therapy now. I've been watching Love is Blind.
Okay.
The new season.
Yeah.
And I've realized that this is probably the first season where there's like 3 or 4 men that are just like, yeah, I've gone to therapy. And like, they just say it like nothing. And I'm like, that seems so new to me to hear a man say that they have been going to therapy.
Yeah, you're right. Like I'm trying to think, all my friends go, but I don't know about like their husbands don't go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Let me tell you this interesting thing that Tatum mentioned to me that I just think is like fascinating. She was saying that, and I applied it more to people just getting divorced. Okay, so I want you to think about yourself in this situation. So you differentiate your life. You've lived with this man for all these years and these children. Okay, so you're with Tom, you're living together all these years. Every day, he's invested in your day. He knows whether you went out for coffee. He knows if you got your hair cut. He knows he's a witness to your life. Okay. Mm-hmm. He's a witness to your life. You've got this witness to everything you do. Oh my God, I'm running late today. You call him and be like, holy shit, I'm going to be late. Like he witnessed all these little micro stresses throughout the day. He witnesses your 2 a.m. up from the drink you had. Mm-hmm. He's a witness to your life. And then you're alone. And in Tatum's case, she went away to college and like now she's got friends, but it's like not like your mom or your dad who's so heavily invested. I mean, I know when Tate, you know, brushes her teeth every day. Like I'm aware when we're out of toothpaste. I'm aware if she needs a certain snack in the cabinet. Like I am hyper aware of her needs and I'm a witness to her day every day. Like I know whether she got coffee. I know all the things. And then they leave and like they differentiate. And in some ways, when you get divorced, same thing. It's like you had this witness to your life and now you're sitting by yourself and no one is there to care or know whether you were up at 2 a.m. or you're out of coffee and now this morning there is none or whatever. Your headphones are dead. I mean, it can be tiny little things, but it's like there's a sadness that takes place for a period of time until you kind of regain something that fills that validation, that witnessing of your day.
Yeah. And I think though that's like something you have to find within yourself.
And in yourself. And in
Like,
yourself. Part of becoming an adult. Or
Mel Robbins has this thing. I don't know if she like is the originator of it, but she was talking about how no one's coming to save you. You know, we're all like waiting for someone to come save us. It's why people want to be in a relationship, because it's saving you from being alone.
Yeah.
But like, no one's coming to save you. You can't rely on a single person to be the one that is caring about whether or not you have toothpaste and whether or not you have coffee that day. Like it's like this thing that you just kind of have to be okay with within and be like, it's okay. I think for me lately, the hardest part about being alone is just kind of figuring out what I'm doing with my day a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like I have to take a good 10 minutes, 15 minutes and be like, what do I need to get done? What process am I like, what steps am I taking to do these things? What do I need to do first? And maybe this is like just my ADHD and why that's like a hard thing for me.
But why would that be any different though? Help me. Because I hear what you're saying, but why is that any different than when you were living with your husband?
Because it was almost like we were working on stuff together.
Yeah.
You know, like if
we're
we need to go to the grocery store, like I'm going to run to the grocery store, or you're going to start the laundry, you know, like that stuff, or vacuum. It's more so like with getting things done, like around the house, I guess, or like just tasks that I have to do for work and that kind of thing. Time management, you know. But even like in Breckenridge the other day, I took my lesson and it was on a different peak. And so I had to figure out how to get back to the other peak. My friend had dropped me off for my lesson. So but she was skiing. So I didn't want her to come back and get me. And my initial plan was to snowboard back over to that peak, but I had my backpack with me and I just like didn't feel comfortable getting on the lift with it and all this stuff. And so I was like, you know, there's a free bus here. I'm going to go take the bus. And I go down there and I'm like, the map is so not clear as to where I'm going.
See, I would be panicking.
Yeah. And I'm like, what do I do? Like, I'm like, I'm looking at all these different maps and trying to figure it out. And I was like, you know what? Like, this seems confusing. I'm just going to take a lift.
Yeah.
And so I try to take a lift. There's not one. It keeps just like hourglassing. Like, we're finding your driver. We're finding a driver. There's 5 nearby. And it's like taking, I think I waited for 20 minutes.
Holy shit.
And then I was like, fuck it. Get on this bus, you know, see where it takes me.
Oh my God.
And this is like an old, like redone school bus. There's no clear signage on it that says where you're going.
No.
It's packed full of people
with all their shit.
Yeah, the driver's stopping. I can't hear where we are. I just knew that on the little map that I had pulled up, it looked like I needed to go about 5 stops. And so once we got to the 5th stop, I got off and I was like, I'm just going to try to figure it out from here. I was like a 5-minute walk from the condo.
Oh, you did it.
So I did it.
Yeah. But what is it? Like, it's so true. Like, as you're describing that, if somebody's with you though,
if someone was with me, I would have had someone to bounce stuff off of. And I'd ask people that were there, I'm like, do you know where this bus goes? I don't really know. They're like, I know it goes to the parking lot down at the bottom of this hill. And I'm like, okay, like, I don't really need to get to the parking lot. But yeah, it's like not having someone else to like really bounce off or care. Like,
or care or witness.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, that's the thing. But do you feel like when you go back, like, let's say during that time while all that's happening, are you so busy on the mission, or are you thinking about, I'm alone and kind of nervous right now?
It was a little bit of both, I guess.
Yeah.
Because it was, especially with the lift not showing up, I was like, what's my next option here?
Yeah. If the lift doesn't, what am I going to do then?
Yeah. Like, do I just go back and
I'm hitchhiking.
fears of getting on the lift with my backpack?
Oh God. Especially.
And I guess I should point out too, like, I'm wearing a snowboard, you know, like on the lift. And if you've ever gone skiing and seen snowboarders getting on and off the lift, it's not easy.
No, it's not easy.
It's not designed for someone on a snowboard.
No, it is not.
Like, and on top, like, I don't like to bring the little rack thing down because it messes up my board. So I'm just flying blind up there, like hanging on for dear life without the arm down.
Oh my God.
I'm a wimp. I hate heights too. Like I get on the lift and I like kind of leave my body and just like act like it's not that high.
I know the lifts get me a little scared. Do you know, I've never had to do this in all my years. I've skied my whole life, but Oliver and I rode up a lift together and got to the top of a mountain that then when he got up there, he's like, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. Like getting emotional. No. And so we're up there. My kids had gone up on the other chair, like behind us. And it was Ollie and I in our chair. And so he didn't want to go down. And my three were like, we're going, like, we'll see you at the bottom, basically, work it out with him. And so I'm telling him he can do it. Like I'm building him up. And he's like, I'm not doing it. So I had to do the thing where you get back on the lift and ride down. Have you ever had to do that?
No. Like, did you get off the lift and he didn't?
Yeah, we got off the lift. We're at the top of the mountain. We're looking out, and that's
the hardest part is getting off the lift.
We got off the lift. We're looking down, and he's like, basically, I'm not doing this. And at this point, too, the lift guy was kind of like, oh, he doesn't have to, just right back down. And I'm thinking, don't tell him that. Shut up. We're going down. Like he can do it. And my kids just left. So then I'm like, it's he and I alone. I'm like, you got this, man. Like I know you do. I've seen you do harder. Let's do it. We're going to do it together. But he definitely wasn't having it. And then I thought, well, God, if he did like get hurt or there was a thing, Maria was going to fucking kill me. So I'm like, I can't like have him get hurt. And after he didn't want to do it. Yeah. So I like, fine, we'll ride down. So we come down and I guess the guy on our lift didn't tell the guy at the bottom that we were riding back down. Oh so God. Then I guess they're like supposed to stop it and then you get off before it winds around to pick up the next group. So it wound around and I'm like, hey, we're here. Like, hello. And so these men are like standing there ready to sit. And Ollie and I are there. It was like a whole debacle. I mean, it was fine.
Like a poorly operated lift.
We were laughing, but I was like, holy shit. The lifts are so stressful.
Because I was telling my Lyft driver about the whole thing that with getting my way back and not wanting to get on the lift with a backpack. And he was like, you just tell them to slow it down.
Yeah, you do.
And I'm like, you can tell them to slow it down.
You can tell them to slow it down. Yeah.
I've been snowboarding for 20 years. And I didn't tell them
you definitely can.
You don't want oh God. It's always like a little panic attack for me doing that. Like I can get off the lift, but I literally have to like make a plan with the people that I'm on there with.
I know it sucks every time when Maria's with her board. I'm like, what? It's so complicated with the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm going straight. You guys just get away from me.
Yeah.
What might
happen. That's so funny. I'm good at that. I'm used to being with someone with a board and I know my place. I get out of your way very quickly. I get out of your fucking way.
I'm
very
not
quickly.
All the way in. I can't steer.
No, it's terrible. The anxiety for me of that wouldn't be worth it.
Really?
No, because I'm so anxious. You're probably good at it now. Yeah.
Yeah. Like now, I think I fell once getting off, but it wasn't like right at the thing, like right as the chair's letting off. It was like down the little hill a little bit and like it was icy and my board clipped. And I just got right back up. It wasn't a big deal, but I had one that Tamara, my best friend, and Marina witnessed. And it was like so embarrassing. I don't even know what happened, but somehow like I fell like right at the chair and they didn't slow it down. And I literally laid flat while the thing went over my head.
No.
Yeah. And then I had to flip my body around to get my board the right way and pop up and go. And they both were like, I don't know how on earth you moved so quickly. Like like you look like
I can't
Superman
believe they didn't
like,
slow it down.
No way. Yeah, that guy didn't give a shit.
Damn.
So
yeah, wow.
But it's I still have the visual in my head, and Tamara loves to bring it up. Like how funny it was to watch.
Our family on the lift is always. It's just no idea it could go either way every time. It's every time. It could always like you could be down on the ground, you might make it.
I'm like, who even thought of this concept though? Like let's sit on an open chair in the wind and snow and
I hate it.
I know a massive mountain Like,
and then it's like rocking, and then it's like they stop it and it's like bouncing up and down.
God,
I hate it.
That was my last one that I did. If anyone's familiar with Breckenridge, I was going up the Beaver Run lift, and that one's really long. Like you're up there.
I've
for a
actually
long
done that
time.
exact run.
And
Yeah.
I was like regretting it the whole time because it's getting more and more snowy and
Yeah.
windy.
Yeah.
And
Blizzardy. You can't see.
And I'm like,
I know.
like, and I was alone too. I'm like,
Oh,
no. But I survived.
yeah. I know I told you that my mom is like an incredible skier. My dad's a good skier
Yeah.
too, but my mom is like really good. But I always feel like when I'm with them or when I was with them, it's like your mom and dad are there. Like nothing can happen.
Nothing can
So
happen.
now that I'm like an adult with my own children, it's like it doesn't feel as safe. Like I feel like
You
I'm
always
the
see the people
adult.
getting carted down the mountain too.
Right.
Like,
And it's like now I'm the adult who's supposed to be like taking care of everyone. And I don't feel like I'm good enough to be the person in charge.
you guys all wear helmets?
We do.
Yeah. I
Well,
didn't have
Maria
one up
doesn't always, but
until
yeah.
several years ago, but I was thinking about that the other day. I'm like, everybody here has on a helmet. I think it's required now. But when I first started, like
Nobody wore helmets.
no one.
No one. I never did. My whole childhood, I never wore a helmet.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
I don't.
thank God I survived, but
I know. It's weird though. Yeah, how that's changed
yeah,
in a good way.
in a good way.
How do we get this back to gay?
I don't know.
I think the other thing we were going to talk about, just that kind of relates to the catalyst thing, is it occurred to me that many people also have the feeling of like you're making this big decision between your ex-husband and your old life and this new person. And this is the decision, and it's one or the other. It's A or B, A or B. What am I going to do? I'm going to do A or I'm going to do B. And it's like every day it feels different, but it's really, that's not the choice. Those are not the two options. It's like that's a terrible way I think to look at it.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's
Like
better.
it's not a person you're choosing.
No, it's a different life. It's choosing you, which isn't always. Sometimes choosing you is staying. So I think it's like it's not like I think you need to like pull yourself out of that mindset because I don't think because then if it doesn't work out too with the catalyst, then you're thinking, what was I doing?
What did I do?
Yeah. Like, I think it's really important to like really zoom out and see the whole picture.
Yeah. And that's really hard to do when you're caught up in the catalyst
drug. It is. Yeah. And it's just, what do you value? You know, like what I think Dr. Jamie talks about that a lot. Like when you're making the decision, there's no right or wrong. It's what do you value the most? Your authenticity, your, you know.
Like so many people have said, and Robin that we had on a few weeks ago, like sometimes it takes testing out different avenues and different paths and figuring out like what feels truly right.
Yeah, what makes me feel like me.
Right now, maybe choosing between A and B, neither feels right.
Right.
So it's going to take a while to kind of figure out, like maybe A feels good for now, maybe B does feel good.
Yep. So, I mean, how many times would you say, like looking back, it's like I would have a week go by where I'm like, I'm definitely doing it. Like I'm gay. I've got to go. I'm doing it. And then I would literally be like, oh my God, thank God I didn't. Like, I do not want to. I'm so happy. I did.
I don't think I had bouts like that, but
I did for probably a full year where I was like, I never
on for longer.
Yeah.
In mine. So.
Right. So I think it's like,
it's so hard. I just, every time I read any of these emails, like my heart just breaks a little bit for everybody of what they're going through. And just like, I just know how difficult it is and how it does, like you're saying, it feels like choice A or B. Like,
yeah. And if you make the wrong choice, yeah. And I remember Jamie saying that to me with, I'm like, what if I'm wrong? Or what if I make the wrong choice? And she was like, what if? Tell me, what if? Like, what do you think happens if you make the wrong choice? And it was kind of like, oh, well, then I've lost everything. And now I'm alone, regretting my decision. That's what happens.
I'm alone now.
Yeah.
And that's scary.
Yeah. But is it, then talk about that, name the monster. Like, why is that scary?
Why is it scary? Like I think like it's boring, I think that's really a big part of it is being alone is boring.
Like you feel like you want to know that you have a plan. Like this weekend, Maria happened to be traveling. And I remember thinking like, okay, now I've got 3 days, 2 weekend nights that I need to like, I want to have something on my radar. And just mentally I thought, but then as the weekend wore on, I was kind of like, oh, I'm fine.
Yeah. That's, been what I've been doing lately. Like when I knew that I had that full day in Denver, I was like, I'm going to go to the art museum and then find a cool coffee shop and somewhere cool for lunch. And I watched Love is Blind.
Yeah, exactly. And that felt good.
And it felt good.
Yeah. Like, I think that's so true. Yesterday I took a bath with my book.
Yeah.
And I was like, I would never normally do that. I literally laid in the bathtub for probably an hour reading. And it was like heaven.
Yeah. I think like make a list of like little things like that are just like, really nice and relaxing to do and free a lot of the time.
Right.
Like there's something to be said for just like lounging around on a Saturday. Like I have not really allowed myself to do that very much in recent years. And like you're saying, it's like I always needed a plan.
Yeah, I needed a plan.
Like, it's okay to just be in my PJs for most of the day.
Right. And I think too, like another thing that Dr. Jamie said is she's like, I like my own company. Like she's like, I like my own company. So I don't need to have anyone there ever. Like want sometimes.
Right.
But I thought that was interesting because it's like, okay, maybe, I have never been alone. Like I always have people here. There's somebody always around. Like I think I probably like my own company too. I did this weekend.
Yeah. And you don't get that much.
No, I don't. So anyway.
Embrace it.
Yeah. All right, my friends.
Fun times. Well, I am going to take my kids to dinner.
Oh, nice. Where are you guys headed?
Just like a little like hibachi place.
Oh,
we're not doing the whole hibachi thing. I want sushis.
Yeah. Now my kids like sushi, even Reed. So and he eats a ton of it. So I'm like,
say that's an
special occasions. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like legit just getting them fried rice.
It's so good. It's so freaking good. We'll have fun with them. We're glad you're back, and I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
Want to support the Lesbian Chronicles podcast? Rate us and write a review on Apple Podcast or Spotify.
We love listener feedback. If you'd like to share your story, email us at melissaandallie@gmail.com. That's Melissa, MELISA, and Allie, ALLI, @gmail.com. Or follow us on Instagram at Lesbian Chronicles.